you're stingy in your relationship and it's long distance and you want to now make it work as per magician. Hey beautiful people, how are you all doing today? I trust you guys are doing well. I'm sure you guys enjoyed my previous video on relationship, so I've decided to do a relationship series for you guys, and my today's session is on long distance relationship hacks. Long distance relationship hacks, because like a lot of people feel long distance relationship is a waste of time. A lot of people feel like long distance relationship is a lot of work and would rather not venture into one because they feel like they cannot deal, they can't cope, they can't handle being in a different state from whoever they are in a relationship with, or being in a different country because they feel like it's too much stress. They'll rather they're in a relationship with someone who they can easily access. But I'm here to tell you that long distance relationship is piece of cake. Okay, not piece of cake, but long distance relationship is not as difficult as we think. So let's keep watching, and I'm going to enlighten you guys on what to do to keep your long distance relationship afloat. And before I forget, on this session I'll be having a wonderful guest who will be joining me to discuss about long distance relationship hacks, how to make your long distance relationship work. Before I begin, I would like to explain terms. In the phrase long distance relationship, there are three words. There is long, there is distance, and there is relationship. I would like to explain them individually and explain them collectively so that we can all get along, can all understand where I'm coming from and where I'm heading. Are you with me? Okay, so let's go. So long is something with great distance from one point to another. Then distance is the length of space between 2 points. So there's a difference between long and distance, but they kind of like have similar meanings if you understand what I'm trying to say. Then relationship is basically the connection between two or more people. But in this particular topic, we are talking about the connection between two persons. Two persons who are supposed to be emotionally attracted to each other. Two persons who have decided to be together, to grow, to commit, to do so many things together. So this particular topic is about two persons and not three persons. Today I am discussing partner relationships, lovers relationship, boy-girl relationship between a man and a woman. So how to handle long distance relationships. So putting long distance and relationship together, and I'm going to explain it, what long distance relationship means. So in long distance relationship, it is simply the length and the distance between two persons who are supposed to be in love, who are supposed to be partners. So I believe there are some people who in their relationship they are separated by distance, they're separated by miles, meaning they're not in the same space at the same time. One person is across the country. So many people find it difficult to get into long distance relationships, or find it difficult to sustain a long distance relationship because they feel there's a lot to be done that they're not willing or ready to do. But I want to assure you that a long distance relationship can actually work. Yes, I said so. A long distance relationship can work. I used to think that a long distance relationship couldn't work, but I mean, I've come to understand that there's a lot of effort that needs to be put in to make a long distance relationship work. Apart from long distance relationships, if there is anything in life that you want to work, you want to actually see results, you want to prosper, you want to be fruitful, you have to commit to it, you have to work at it, you have to put in all the efforts in the world just to make sure that thing is fruitful. Same goes for long distance relationships and so many other things. So for you to have a successful long distance relationship, there are certain things you need to do, and that is what I'll be discussing for today. And I'll be having a guest, yes, an emotional intelligence coach, and her name is Selema Enang. She is a professional in this field, and I'll be inviting her to share the tips on long distance relationship, because I'm sure so many of us are already tired. So many of us have given up on love because of distance. Let's say you were dating somebody and life happened, the person had to relocate or had to travel out from school, and you're like, you know what, I can't continue with this, I can't help it, I can't deal with not seeing you, and all of that and all of that. And I believe that there are so many long distance relationships that have been successful. So many people have even ended up getting married. And you won't tell me that because your partner is moving to another side of town, you want to end things and start a new relationship. What happens when the person comes back? Would you say, oh, sorry, I could not continue? Or if you leave your partner here in Nigeria and you travel to Canada, you say you can't handle long distance relationship, you start a new relationship in Canada, and you move to another part of the world, you just start another relationship, you just keep starting relationships and you never finish, or you never even have like fruitful relationships because you're always jumping from one relationship to the other. Not because you had issues with your partner, but because you are failing to put in the work, you're failing to put in efforts to make that relationship work. And this video is to tell you that there are actually things you can do to make that long distance relationship work. And like I said, I'll be having a guest who will be discussing this for you to know that there are things you should do, there are things you should follow to make sure a long distance relationship works. If at all you want a long distance relationship to work, I mean, it's your choice at the end of the day. If you're not ready for it, feel free to bounce. But if you're sure you want to invest in that relationship, this is the video you should be watching. Okay, so I'll be asking my guests some questions, some popular questions that come up with the issue of long distance relationships, and she's going to be providing detailed answers to each and every one of the questions I'll be asking. So Selema, Enang, what do you think? A long distance relationship like waste of time?
Do I think that it's a waste of time? No. If it's two people who are showing up to do the work, who are intentional about each other, who are honest, who are loyal, then long distance relationships are not a waste of time. They do require a lot of work and a lot of honesty. There's communication, there's being able to resolve conflicts, there's being able to understand each other. Whatever you do, long distance relationships will always emphasize the need to communicate. Relationships do this, but when it comes to long distance relationship, you understand that without communication, you are literally dead. If it's a relationship where you can see each other, or maybe you can go on dates and stuff, that's different. But with long distance relationships, all you have is the communication, so it better be good.
So my second question is, do you think there's anything special to do in a long distance relationship? I mean, there are so many things that people don't want to do to make their long distance relationship work. Some people have given up already because of one thing or the other. Some reasons might not even be holding enough water. So there are some other people whose long distance relationships are thriving, and I believe there is something they are doing that is making it successful. So can you just like enlighten us, like tell us, what are they doing that we are not? What are they putting in? Are they like doing some automobile behind the scenes or something? Because I really don't understand. I've tried long distance relationship before. It didn't work. Not because I gave up on the relationship. I just felt like something was lacking that is very important. But I mean, just tell us, what do you think that should be done to make long distance relationship work?
Long distance relationships are not a joke. Let's be very real. It's going to take a lot of work, and not everybody is willing to do this work. So because people are too lazy to actually do the work that they need to do, then it's okay for them to say, oh, it's a waste of time, I'm not going to do it. But if you're with a partner who wants to communicate, wants to be there, is present emotionally, mentally, then you would actually enjoy being with them. Yes, there are going to be times where you're going to miss them, but you will actually enjoy being in a long distance relationship. Another thing I'd like to add is that if you are stingy, if you are a stingy person, please don't do it. Stay away from long distance relationship. The reason is because all of the things that you cannot do, like in physical relationships where you can show up and take your partner out on a date, you can see them and, oh, I bought this key holder for you. You can do stuff like that. You can give it to them physically. You can be there. In long distance relationships, you cannot be there. So imagine if you have a partner who their love language is receiving gifts. If you are a stingy person, it won't work, because if that's one of your partner's love languages, then how are you going to actually show that without buying them gifts and then with you being stingy about spending money in the first place? That's one. Two, the fact that you're not there are going to be like times where you need to send them like gifts, like, oh, I'm buying my girlfriend flowers because it's a Tuesday and she deserves it. I'm giving my boyfriend a watch, or I'm going to get him favorite flavor of his cake because he's had a long weekend and he needs something to make him smile. Then send a note with the cake. Or I'm going to buy him books. He really loves to read books, so I'm going to buy him books because, well, I want him to have new books. Oh, I saw this stuff that I think will look really good on him, so I'm going to order it and send it to his house. There's so many things. And sending gifts is one of the ways, oh, I'm thinking about you, I appreciate you, I miss you. So if you are stingy, yeah, it's not gonna work in this case. So you better just stay away from the long distance stuff if you're a stingy person.
So, you've heard what she has to say. She said that it has a lot of things to do with communication. Like, communication is paramount, is important. You cannot take away communication from long distance relationship because you guys are miles apart. There is almost like little or no physical contact. So you want to do as much communication as possible, because if you slack in communication, almost just consider your relationship heading to like a downfall, and I'm sure you wouldn't want that. So communicate as often and as regular as possible if you want a long distance relationship to be successful. So my third question for you, Miss Selema, is in terms of availability, loyalty, physicality, assurance, and all of that that makes up like a relationship. How do you think one can make all these things visible or make it known to his or her partner, especially when they're in a long distance relationship? I mean, I believe that so many people say that their long distance relationship is not working because there's little or no physical contact. But I don't know, is it like necessary to have a physical contact every time? If you're in a long distance relationship, must physical contact happen on a regular basis for it to work? So just tell us, what do you think?
I just want to state that I'm pro no sex before marriage. I think that sex should be taken off the table and other forms of intimacy should actually be built upon. So if you follow me on my social media, if you listen to my podcast, you already know where I stand on this. And in different episodes in podcasts, I explain like a lot of stuff about intimacy. Now, there are different kinds of intimacy. There's spiritual intimacy, there's mental intimacy, there's emotional intimacy, there's communication intimacy before there's physical intimacy. Most people like to start from the end at the beginning. So they do physical intimacy first, then try and look for the other types of intimacy as they go along. But that's actually disrupting the order in which it should be. And a lot of people never actually go through all of those forms of intimacy. So take sex off the table and focus on the other forms of intimacy. Who is this person with their clothes on? Who are they? Do you even know who you're with? Do you even like the person that you're dating? Or are you with them because they are good in the sack? That's something that long distance gives you the opportunity to actually find out. So all you have in long distance relationship is actually developing the other forms of intimacy. You don't have a choice. You have to develop them, because if you don't, then how do you guys actually build anything at all?
All right. So you all have heard what she has to say. She has said a whole lot of things that I've never heard before. Apart from the whole communication thing, she even talked about stingy partners. Hey, Jesus is Lord. You're stingy in your relationship and it's long distance and you want to now make it work. As per magician, you're not doing some certain things that you know should be done to keep the love afloat. Apart from communication, there are some other things you should do, like she mentioned. If your partner is someone whose love language is receiving gifts, and you're not slacking in sending gifts across, whether you're the man sending to the woman or the woman sending to the man, or both of you send to each other, if you're slacking in doing that, gradually everything just starts to like reduce. Especially if there's now someone somewhere that's not giving them gifts, the same gifts that you're holding your money from buying for your partner. Just consider the relationship over, like, because there's no point. So like she said, you need to put in a lot of work. And apart from the whole physical intimacy thing that she talked about, there are other aspects of relationship you need to build to have a successful relationship. She talked about the emotional intimacy, the spiritual intimacy. Like, I mean, I'm just hearing about those things for the first time, and I'm sure you're hearing about it for the first time too. So take away the physical intimacy of the relationship, and there are other things that can actually make your long distance relationship to thrive. Okay, so I hope you've learned like something today. I hope you know that your long distance relationship can work if you put in the work. Basically, like in summary, put in the work. If you want it to be successful, put in the work. If you want it to lead to marriage, you want it to end up beautiful like every other successful long distance relationship, put in the work. That's like the highlight. Put in the work. If you don't put in the work, you will not see positive results. So I hope you've learned something today. I mean, I had like an expert talk to you guys, and she said so many amazing things that on a normal day you wouldn't even hear about it. But I believe that you're going to put in the work to your relationship from now henceforth, and you're going to give me your report on how things are going, because I trust that the moment you do all these things, you're going to have testimonies, you're going to be excited, you're going to be happy, and you're going to be proud of yourself because you decided on your own to listen to this video, to watch this video, and put in all the tips to work in order to make your long distance relationship work. Alright, thank you so much guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you loved it. Please feel free to leave a thumbs up for me. Also subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done that. I beg of you. And please turn on the post notification bell so that when I post a new video you get my notification. Alright guys, see you in my next video. Bye.